All right, it's another Monday, and maybe the third time's the charm. I'm Benj,
I'm Chase.
I'm Dave.
and we're gonna try to tell you about elves. We've had some technical difficulties with trying to record in the past, so we're gonna give it another shot. And if it doesn't work, I'm sorry, we're not gonna talk about them. So, Chase, if I were to look in the player's handbook under elves, what would your elven eyes see?
So I'm glad you said it instead of me this time because sorry, fans. After saying that one liner so many times, I think I have I think I have mentally destroyed my two other fellow recorders here. But anyway, so no surprise, elves are my favorite race, and I can give you the whole spiel about them. But instead, we'll just go over the basics first. So just your run-of-the-mill generic elf is going to be your Dex bonus base race. On top of that, they have something called Fey Ancestry. It pretty much makes them resistant to charm effects, thing of that nature. There's three subtypes of elves, two of which I'll talk about, one of which I refuse to talk about. Dave will take care of that one, don't you guys worry. The two subsets are the wood elves and the high elves. The wood elves are essentially your sneaky Legolas type elves. They have an ability to pretty much hide behind a shrub and you don't see them. Well, they get an advantage on stealth checks, but you pretty much don't see them. They're really good with ranged weapons for the most part. I know some people who like to do dual wield combos with them because they get some elf weapon bonuses as well for elven weapons. Well, technically they're any race weapons, but in the lore of things, they're generically elven. High elves are more of your wizards. They get some extra cantrips, and essentially they're your wiggly fingers magic types, up and mighty, nose in the air kind of people, at least in my opinion. And then you have the drow. Yeah, your turn, Dave.
uh, the Drow also have their own kind of like Drow weapon training. They have proficiency with certain kinds of weapons. The big difference is they get hand crossbows, which not many races use, but they also get like magic. So you start off with a cantrip. At third level, you get a first level spell, and at fifth level, you get a second level spell. You can use once per long rest. It's Dancing Lights, Fairy Fire, and Darkness. Fairy Fire is amazing. Darkness is annoying as crap. Don't use it. And Dancing Lights is a cantrip. They also get better dark vision than elves do. They can see twice as far. They get more charisma, because somehow being an asshole makes you more charismatic. I don't know. And then they get sunlight sensitivity, which is bad. They get disadvantage on any attack rolls and on perception checks that rely on sight when you're in direct sunlight, because they're from the Underdark and they don't know what that big ball of fire up in the sky is. They don't know how to deal with it. But there you go.
So basically, we're looking at dex builds because
Yeah.
they all get a bonus to dexterity. High elves, I guess, are more wizardy because they get the intelligence bonus.
And they get the extra cantrip too.
Right. And then the wood elves get a wisdom bonus, which rangers cast their spells off of wisdom, so that's something. And the drow, with their bonus to charisma, lends them more towards sorcerer, warlock, a bard.
Right.
I say that with a question mark because there's no such thing as a drow bard. No,
Yeah, bards.
no, they're not.
Bards
Gonna...
just don't seem to make sense for a drow at all. At all.
Yeah, I was trying to say maybe if you went like the fighter bard, because there's the two versions, but even then that'd be a bit of a stretch.
Or if you go the emo bard, that would maybe work.
The emo bard, not very well known, but probably because Underdark. So how do we see elves fitting in the world, fitting in the campaign?
I guess I'll go first on this one.
I guess.
So, for me, I'll go and start off by saying the biggest thing about elves that I always make sure myself and anytime I'm DMing that my players understand is, I really didn't mention this at the beginning, but elves live for a very long time. Essentially, I'd say anywhere from a 700 year to a 1,000 year stretch is pretty much, that's their ballpark. So I always pretty much make sure that my players kind of get that, yeah, you live for a very long time and you're surrounded by races who don't even maybe see half of your lifetime. So when it comes to elves fitting in the world, that's kind of my main go-to. And then from there, if you break it up into the subtypes, I always make sure that you understand that your wood elves are just that. They've lived most of their life out in the wilderness. It may be a civilized wilderness. I don't even know how that's possible, but it's a
No.
thing apparently. Um, uh, So anyway, you live out in the woods, so you know how to survive and hunt and forage, but at the same time, you still have that bit of elvenness that makes you high and mighty and above the rest. Or maybe it's the reverse, and you are very reclusive and don't talk to people, and you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. As compared to your high elves, where I treat them, they're kind of like the noble and mighty, nose in the air type of people. Most people don't want to talk to them, and they don't really want to talk to most people. To go even further with that, in the campaign I'm running right now, the elves of my world pretty much consider themselves demigods and pretty much don't talk to mere mortals because what's 60 years? I mean, get out of here, children. And then there's the other guys, which I guess I'll let Dave talk about again.
So from role-playing Drow, you first have to figure out why in the world a Drow is not in the Underdark, unless you're playing an Underdark campaign, and then they totally fit in. You also have to figure out, if you're not playing an evil party, why they're playing with good people. Of course, you can play an evil character, but that causes party strife. We'll deal with that in, like, a later video where we talk about party composition and party strife and all that fun stuff. But I tend to see Drow as taking, like, that elven racism, being racist, for lack of a better word, and taking it to another extreme because they're better than all of you, but they're better than all of you to the extreme level of you all should be slaves, not just like, we're going to look down our nose at you, like, we're going to look down our nose at you, and you're also going to clean my shoes while you're down there. But yeah, it's hard to roleplay a Drow sometimes because it's hard to get in that mindset of I'm better than everyone else, unless you're just better than everyone else.
I don't play Drow.
I actually have a good idea for that. Talk to your DM. Introduce your Drow character 2 levels above the rest of the party. I am better than you, and I do know it.
I am statistically and game mechanically better than you.
Exactly. There you go.
Unless you're playing a Beastmaster Ranger, and then you're awful.
Yeah, then I'm still worse than you. Unless you go off the new updates that they
The Unearthed Arcana one, where they made it better.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another video, though. But they did try to fix it, fans, we promise. But anyways, Benj, what about you? What do you think about them elves?
I would really like to see, and this is just something that I thought about recently when I started thinking about things I would say about it, because I don't like them. I don't like elves. I'm a dwarf guy. I think Peter Jackson did the world a disservice when he made the elves look like, they are actually better than everyone, and they made the dwarves look like, well, the village drunk.
Comic relief.
Like, all of them
yeah, I would say comic relief.
were drunken comic relief characters, and dwarves, even in the Tolkien world, don't mess around. I would actually like to see someone play an elf who's a coward, because not because I don't like elves, and I want elves to be, made fun of, and you're a little coward. But, I mean, think about, they live for 750 years. When you're starting to play your character, even an elf is only, 90 to 110 years old. They've got a lot of their life ahead of them. Like, a lot. And
right.
So, running out there and adventuring, running out first to get the first hit and take the first hit, well, that's just dumb. And if you die adventuring at the tender young age of 120, that is a travesty. I mean, you've lived only 1/6 of your life. That's like kids dying in car wrecks. It's like seeing on the news like a 17-year-old ate it, and that's tragic. So I would like to see somebody who played their elf. I mean, because you're doing a dex build, you're probably running around with a longbow, and you're hiding in the back anyway. But I would stay way back. Like, check the range increment on your longbow. You don't have to be on the map, right? You can take the sharpshooter feat and don't worry about range increments. You're 600 feet away. You're good to go.
That is a pretty crazy range.
It's also realistic. I mean, you gotta arc it something fierce, but you can hit it.
You gotta put a little English on that shot.
A little bit of the English, and you gotta lick the finger and hold it up, see where the wind's going. But I mean, that's the thing I would like to see is like an elf that just hides first and fights second.
That would be interesting because you always see elves as being almost like the leader of the party and at the forefront. But it would be interesting to see an elf who's just like, no, you guys go ahead. I'll catch up later. I'll stand back here. Like, way back
I mean,
here.
The elf already has 3 lifetimes more experience than the human. in the party, because the human is going to be like 17 or 18. The elf is 5 or 6 times older than that. So they've already seen some stuff. And, so yeah, naturally you would gravitate towards someone with that kind of experience advantage into being in a leadership position. But I would like to see an elf like, yeah, y'all go ahead. I'll catch up.
Can I also say I like how Wizards did that statistically too? Like showing the whole age with stats. Wood elves live for so long, so they get that extra bonus to wisdom because they've had a long time to look at stuff. High elves get the bonus to intelligence because they've had a long time to read.
Yeah.
I like how it's just built in, right?
Well, it makes sense. I mean,
exactly.
All the stat bonuses make sense for every race.
Yeah, I just love it when they make sense to the lore. It's just so good.
Right, do we have anything else to say about elves? I know we said a lot of things about elves because we've recorded this video 3 times.
We have internet, just so you know. But we almost forgot something, but I won't let it. And this time I'm going to take Dave's spot because Dave reminded us of this in the second video. What classes are elves good for, and what classes is the anti-elf class?
Here you go, stealing my good ideas.
We talked about what they were good for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, but we forgot the other half of that. So what's the anti-elf class?
I mean, you can make a dex build fighter, so that's not a problem, but definitely barbarian.
Definitely barbarian. That just because elves are supposed to be so civilized, and the barbarian is the antithesis of that to me. It'd be weird just seeing an elf just like running and charging and screaming to whatever god elves believe in. I don't know, Corlon, whatever their name is.
Yeah, and I
the sisters.
I don't know that Corlon would really find that to be like something he would want to see them do.
Oh, he wouldn't. He'd be pissed. Like,
I
look,
need
you're
you
elves.
guys to calm down.
You are not a half-orc or a dwarf. Stop that. You stop that right now.
Well, like I said, I could kind of see the, what is the primal path? Totem barbarian?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're essentially like a weird point between a druid and a fighter. But the flat-out frenzied barbarian...
I would see him as a totem barbarian before a frenzied berserker. That's true.
On the other hand, you could have your elf barbarian be played like a British guy who chooses coffee instead of tea.
I hope we never get any fans in Britain.
And if he doesn't get his coffee, then you've been warned.
If you bring him tea, if you're like, oh, you're a British person, so you must like tea. You're an elf, you must like tea. He's like, what? No, where's my coffee? You're so wrong. I'm going to smash your head in. And then he does because barbarian, and they have, anger management issues.
They would like to rage.
They would.
They will, and they will.
So yeah, that I think we all agree on the anti-elf class.
The barbarian's kind of the anti-elf.
I don't really see an elf running as a bard either. While we're at it, I mean, they why so serious? And then
I would disagree slightly, just because you can go with like the lore bard, where I mean they're just a scholar, right? They just want to learn and read all the stories.
Yeah, seeing an elf who's like the I'm gonna play my lute bard. That's what a half-elves are for.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree.
Fair enough.
That's all I got.
Yep, same here.
Okay, well, in that case, I guess we'll wrap it up. I'm Benj.
I'm still Chase.
I'm Dave.
And keep on rolling.